All right, Bills Mafia, let's get into it. You know this team is always looking to get sharper, more disciplined, and more prepared every single week. Because the mission is simple: bring results and bring them now. And trust me, today's story is one you're going to want to stick around for. But before we dive in, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss an update on your Buffalo Bills. Now, over the past 5 years, the Bills have been the kings of the AFC East. 6 straight playoff appearances, 5 straight division crowns. It's been an incredible run. That's why when Sports Illustrated's Connor Orr put together his full season prediction, penciling Buffalo in as division winners wasn't just easy, it was the safest bet on the board. But here's the curveball: while he has Buffalo taking the East again, one loss he predicted jumped off the page like a flashing red light: a loss after the bye to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, you heard that right. Think about it. This is a Bills team loaded with talent, top to bottom. A quarterback in Josh Allen who can do it all, weapons around him. A defense that's built tough under Sean McDermott, and yet, Orr has Buffalo stumbling against Carolina in what he calls a head-scratcher loss. Why? Because he thinks the Bills could get caught looking ahead to the massive showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs the very next week. Now, let's be honest with each other. Bills Mafia, we've seen it before, right? A trap game, a game the Bills should win but somehow don't, because the focus is already on the bigger opponent down the road. It's frustrating, it's baffling, and it's the kind of loss that makes you want to throw the remote across the living room. But let's step back for a second. Losing to Carolina after the bye wouldn't sting the way it might have last season. The Panthers look like an improved team in 2025, better roster, more competitive, but still, they are not supposed to be on Buffalo's level. That's why Orr labeled it a head-scratcher. And honestly, he's not wrong. Now, if Buffalo were to beat Kansas City the following week, that would soften the blow. But let's keep it real. None of us care about beating the Chiefs in the regular season anymore. It's about January. It's about playoffs, until Buffalo takes Kansas City out when it matters most. Those regular season wins will always feel like hollow victories. And speaking of taking the next step, let's talk about Sean McDermott's recent comments after that ugly preseason loss to the Chicago Bears. He didn't hold back. He said, "We gotta look at the film, really just see who we have, who can help us, what we may need." That line right there, what we may need, has Bills fans buzzing. Because if you watch that game, one weakness stood out like a sore thumb: the safety position. Bills Mafia, this is where things get exciting. Simmons, a former All-Pro safety, actually mentioned Buffalo by name earlier this offseason when talking about where he'd like to play. He said he wants to join a contender, a team always in the mix, and listed Buffalo, Philly, and Cincinnati. How about that? A 4-time All-Pro openly saying Buffalo would be special. Now here's the catch: the Bills only have about $1.3 million in cap space. Signing Simmons would take some Brandon Beane magic. And we've seen Beane do this before: restructures, creative cap moves, even trades. One name that's been floated as a possible trade piece: Curtis Samuel. Injuries have slowed him down, and if the front office feels like moving on could free up the money needed, that's an option on the table. Imagine this, though: Simmons in a Bills uniform, stabilizing the back end of that defense, mentoring rookies like Jordan Hancock, and giving McDermott a proven veteran presence next to Taylor Rapp. Suddenly, that secondary doesn't look shaky, it looks dangerous. For context, Simmons has been in the league since 2016, 9 seasons, 120 for starts, 30 interceptions, over 600 tackles. The man is reliable, the man is productive, and most importantly, the man is experienced. He spent almost his entire career in Denver, had a 1-year stop in Atlanta, and now, at 32, he's hungry for one last chance to win big. Now, Simmons isn't the only option. Other names are floating around: Marcus Williams, Jordan Whitehead, Marcus May, even an old friend in Jordan Poyer. But Simmons feels different. He's vocal about wanting a contender. He's respected across the league, and let's be real, Buffalo's window is open right now. Moves like this are what championship teams do. And don't forget, McDermott basically told us he knows something needs to be addressed. That Bears game wasn't just a preseason loss, it was a wake-up call. Caleb Williams and the Chicago offense made our safeties look lost. That can't happen when the games count. So here's the news that's rocking Buffalo right now: James Cook is locked in. The Bills' starting running back, the engine of this ground attack, finally got the deal he's been waiting for after weeks of questions, speculation, and some Tense moments during training camp. Cook agreed to a 4-year, $48 million extension, with $30 million guaranteed. This isn't just another contract, this is a message. It's the Bills saying, "We believe in James Cook, and we're not going to risk losing the guy who makes this offense click." Now let's put this into perspective. This offseason, Buffalo made plenty of noise, signing wide receivers Joshua Palmer and Elijah Moore to reload the passing game, taking a gamble on Joey Bosa to beef up the pass rush, and even reuniting with Tre'Davious White, a former All-Pro who knows what it means to represent this city. But if there's one move that could define this team's 2025 run, it might just be keeping Cook in town. Why? Because for all the hype around Josh Allen's rocket arm and his dual threat ability, this offense is heavily reliant on balance. And that balance comes from Cook. Let's talk numbers for a second. Last season, Cook averaged for 0.9 yards per carry. That's nearly 5 yards every time he touched the football. He ran for over 1,000 yards and tied names like Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs for the league lead in rushing touchdowns with 16. Add another 158 receiving yards to that, and suddenly you realize this guy isn't just good, he's a weapon. And remember the AFC Championship heartbreak. While some guys struggled under the bright lights, Cook delivered 134 yards from scrimmage and to touchdowns. That's the type of performance you pay for. That's the type of player you build around. But here's where the story gets even better. Bills Mafia. For Cook, this deal isn't just about money, it's about belonging. When sideline reporter Pam Oliver caught up with him during the preseason, Cook was beaming. His words said it all. "It means a lot just to be here in Buffalo, just by the contract extension. It always feels good and is a blessing." That's a young man who loves this city, loves this team, and wants to win here, of course. Negotiations weren't always smooth. Cook had his Holden moment during training camp, showing up but limiting his participation to send a message. And yet, through all of it, he stayed locked in as a teammate again. He told Pam Oliver, "Just knowing that it's going to get done, being a good teammate, being there for my team still while getting a deal done and just not letting there be no distractions. That's maturity, that's leadership. And that's exactly what you want from a core piece of your roster." Now, let's be real here. Not everyone's on board with this deal. Around the league, analysts are already debating whether $48 million is too steep for a running back in today's NFL. Some will argue that running backs are replaceable, that injuries happen often, and that paying them big money can backfire. But here's my counter to that. James Cook isn't just a running back, he's this running back. In this system, with this quarterback, he complements Josh Allen perfectly. He takes pressure off the passing game, he keeps defenses honest. And when it's cold, windy, and the playoffs roll through Buffalo, you're going to want James Cook in that backfield. Dan Orlovsky, who's not one to throw out compliments lightly, even called Cook the second most important member of this offense behind Josh Allen. Think about that, on a team with rising stars like Dalton Kincaid and a retooled wide receiver room, Cook stands out as the guy who makes it all gel. That's why this deal had to get done. The Bills know they're running out of time to maximize Josh Allen's prime, and to finally get over that Kansas City hump, they need their full arsenal. Locking down Cook was non-negotiable. So here's where we stand. The Bills are expected to win the division again. They're predicted to take a baffling loss to Carolina after the bye. McDermott is openly hinting at roster needs. Justin Simmons is sitting there available and interested. Brandon Beane has the tools to make something happen. This is the crossroads moment. Do the Bills double down on the roster as is? Or do they make a veteran splash move to shore up a position that could derail them in the postseason? Bills Mafia, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Bills really could slip up against Carolina in a trap game? And more importantly, should Brandon Beane pick up the phone and bring Justin Simmons to Buffalo? Because here's the truth. Depth at safety is a real concern. This team is too talented to let one weak link hold them back. If the front office believes Simmons is the answer, then it might be time to make it happen. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more exclusive Buffalo Bills coverage, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you're always in the loop. We've got more stories coming your way as the season gets closer, and you won't want to miss them. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Bills Mafia, do we need Simmons? Can we avoid that baffling trap game? Let's talk about it. Go Bills!